My Funny Valentine. One of the hardest things with this is understanding where you need to swing the quavers and where you don't need to swing the quavers. That's the first thing. So from bars 1 to bar 10, they're straight quavers unless you have a triplet written. So you have triplets in bar 1, bar 2, bar 3, etc. But all the other quavers and all the other divisions are straight. But from bar 11 to bar 15, all the quavers are supposed to be swung. And then you have bracketed quavers marked with the number 2 in bars 15, 17, 23, 24, where they have to be straight quavers. It's quite confusing to navigate the score. That's the very first thing, whether it's swung or whether it's straight. Next, we have to make sure that the tempo per crotchet beat is slightly slower than a second. So you get your trusty metronome, you dial it down to 54. Now 54 is slightly slower than a second. So part of your preparation when you're in a video exam is to do your trick for finding a second, which for me is 1 cat dog, 2 cat dog, 3 cat dog, 4 cat dog, and then just inch it down slightly. Other ways is to find this tempo is to find a march tempo, left, 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 right, left, and 2 beats at that tempo is roughly 54. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there are 2 ways to establish your tempo. The third thing to think about when you're preparing My Funny Valentine is how to voice the texture. So you have a melody, and then you have the bass line, and then you have movement in between, counterpoint in between. So that's the third thing. And the fourth thing is to make sure when you're coming off a long note that's continuing onto a melody that you sculpt the sound. So I'll just open up my voice memos on my iPhone and we'll do a long note and you'll see where that sound envelope fades to. So the first long note would be, long melody note, might be bar 3, the C, the middle C in the right hand. So if we have a look at these sound envelopes coming across here, you can see there's a sudden attack and then a very rapid decay. So when you get to your next melody note, you can't play exactly the same velocity of the key or it will sound like an accent, like this. And you can really gauge what the sound is decaying to and then meet that with your next melody note like this. Do you see that? There's no accent when you come off that melody note. So they're the 4 hardest things. When you're trying to make sure that the chords are not vertical in the left hand, those middle chords, you kind of want to cushion them with your elbows. Yep, and I'll demonstrate that with my right arm. I'm not going to do so much of that with my right arm for those inner chords, or just pick them out of the instrument rather than pushing them down in. So remember, that's kind of a martellato technique, whereas if you place your hand and then just roll forward, you get a much gentler sound. And whenever you have a chord that's accompanying that, you need to really engage that technique. So you might also find that any of your rolled chords, instead of digging down with a downward movement with your forearm, that you'll lift them up and you get a much gentler sound, okay? So anything that's accompanying, we need to feel as though we're picking it out of the instrument. I like to talk about drawing the sound out of the instrument as if you're lifting or drawing a tissue out of a box, okay? Quite a pertinent simile at the moment. Okay, so here is My Funny Valentine. And you'll see in the recording that's coming in from my right, when I'm playing a melody on my 3rd, 4th and 5th fingers, but also lifting chords with these 2 fingers out of the instrument. So you kind of got to split your hand. So for instance, say bar 9, we've got a melody here as well as chords. So we're going to go, okay? So here we go. take your hands off, but leave the pedal on, and gently, 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 gently lift the pedal up. Okay. One other little trick is when you've got those grace notes at the beginning of bar 30, you kind of want them to be like a trombone slide or a clarinet glissando. You don't want them to be really digitally articulated, like you want to slide in like that, but not. Yeah, it's nice to practice them cleanly, but you need to really make them gliss a little bit more. Yeah, the ending on those triplets in the second last bar, each note is a perfect fourth, and then a perfect fifth, perfect fifth, perfect fifth. We call that quartal and quintal harmonies, and it's very much a jazz thing. So look out for your note values, whether your notes are straight or swung, and your voicing, and just the simple acoustic science of a long note, a long melody note is going to fade, so you have to match how you come out of it really nicely, dovetail that sound.